Welcome to the TNT show, happening every morning except Sunday at 10 a.m. Today we're talking about Israel and Hamas. What's going on in the Middle East and what's going on with Israel and Palestine.
At big pro-Palestinian rallies like this one the other day in Toronto, you'll hear it.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
So, do you have any information about what happened to start the Israel and
it
Palestine?
seems like it started, as I read some of it, it started like 2,000 years ago. Now, you got to get some context of who Allah is, and Allah's son, Muhammad, and the doctrine that they follow, which is the Quran. And now you have to understand that there is a difference between the Jewish race and Judaism, which is the Jewish religion. Okay? A lot of context. Now, someone who's really good, if you want to follow up and get more information, is Ben Shapiro. He is an expert on this. Don't listen to much else he's got to say, because sometimes he tells you what to think. He don't tell you how to think. So my suggestion is read a little bit about the Quran. Don't believe it, but you got to read it so you understand where their mindset is.
So do you know how long the Jewish people have been in Israel?
Well, Jesus Christ was Jewish.
So,
And did he come from Bethlehem?
I think so. A lot of people say that this war started in 1883 when the Zionists moved to Israel. Would you say that is false? A false narrative?
I would say that the war probably restarted. But then why was Jesus hung on the cross? Because someone didn't agree with his Christian values, even though he was Jewish. Go figure. So
the Jewish people have been in Israel for over 2,000 years plus. Is that what you're telling me?
That's what I believe.
It wasn't from a Zionist movement of immigration moving to Israel. I read on Wikipedia that it was Zionist immigrant movement in 1883.
That filled it. That filled the confrontation. Okay, and it's really just the difference of beliefs. Can you imagine fighting and killing somebody because you believe something different? I believe in Christ. You believe in Muhammad. Oh, we got to kill each other. What? To me, that kind of nonsense is nonsense. I will not let anybody kill anybody else just because they look different, they believe different.
So you think this war started from a hate of religions from Muslims and Jewish people?
Beliefs. Because you can't even, there's black Jewish people, there's white Jewish people, there's not Hispanic, but you know what I mean. There's all colors of Jewish people. So therefore, it must be a religion versus a race, which is Judaism.
Do you think that the U.S. should be involved in funding Israel or Palestine?
Well, I think that it is really owes to the fact that NATO supports Hezbollah, Hamas, Iran, but yet America supports NATO. We're the ones that give NATO most of their money to conduct these wars, but yet America backs Israel.
Do you think the UN should step in and stop giving funding to wars?
That's hard to say. Some wars are necessary. World War II was necessary. Hiroshima and Nagasaki was unnecessary. So they made something that was unnecessary and then did something unnecessary. So go figure. And that's where you need to learn how to think, because there's always half right and there's always someone that's a little wrong. Once they're a little wrong, are they completely wrong? No.
Do you think that Palestine should be declared its own country? Or do you think that Israel should be allowed to figure out its own civil war and gain sovereignty over its own country?
Israel does not want Palestine. That is a mistake.
Oh?
Israel don't want Palestine. Israel wants Palestine to leave them alone, to quit bombing them. They want Hezbollah to quit bombing them. If you have a concert, say you have a concert, and these group of people come in, kill half of them, kidnap half of them, and then walk away like nothing happens, how are you protecting your people? Because that's what a government's supposed to do, is protect their people. And that's what happened. And that's the latest conflict that happened. How do you deal with people that would dare go to a concert, kill people, murder people, and then take them as hostages? And then brag about it. And then show it on their TV how they're able just to walk in and kill these people. And then we expect Israel to do nothing about it?
Do you think that Israel has been demonized a little bit, even though they're trying to fight for their own sovereignty in their country?
Only by people who don't understand, that don't know how to think. Because if they knew how to think, they'd figure it out for themselves. What would you do if 5 guys came in, killed half your children, kidnapped half your children, and murdered your wife? What would you do?
Well, I think
You'd
that
hunt them down.
supporting Palestine is like supporting the southern side of the Civil War. When you support Palestine, I believe it's like supporting the southern side of the Civil War. You're supporting a side that is against the country's sovereign powers, and it's very detrimental to a country. But I also believe that there's extreme use of force happening because Israel has been granted a lot more firepower than they would have been able to make on their own.
So as Palestine, Iran, the country to the north, Iraq, Hezbollah. I mean, Israel has so many enemies, I can't even name them all. And they all come from the same Muslim brotherhood or faith. Do we know what from the river to the sea means? From the river to the sea is a statement that's made often, and it means from the one of the rivers to the sea. I can't remember which one. You can look that up. Okay, and what it means is to kill every Jew from the river to the sea. And that means wiping out all of Israel. How is this people? What do you mean wiping out a whole little country because you disagree with their politics or whatever your problem is? Now we used in the American Indian Wars, we did this. We did it from the ocean to the ocean. So America's not totally innocent, but shouldn't we be past those days?
I mean, I definitely think that we've been supplying Israel and we've been supplying both sides with weapons of war, and I think it's something that should be addressed instead of taking a side. Either side should be condemned. Both sides, I feel like, should be condemned in a way. And the war should stop. The killings should stop.
Shouldn't the aggressor be punished? The aggressor should be punished immensely, in my eyes.
I think the aggressor has been punished.
No, they haven't.
Well, if you look at
Not
the
enough.
Gaza Strip.
Not enough.
Okay.
They need to be completely wiped out.
They
need to be taken out of Palestine. Anybody that bombs Israel from Palestine needs to be taken out, handcuffed, put in jail. Now, I would like them to get a fair trial. That would be nice, but it's impossible because they won't turn themselves in. They won't, when you capture them, they kill themselves. I mean, it's impossible. And then they hide themselves under schools, hospitals. Israel gives them 2 weeks' notice to get all the children all the non-combatants out of schools and hospitals. The Hamas box them and don't let them go because they want them to be casualties.
I think that the biggest problem in this war is supplying either side with weaponry.
Okay, this may be
I
true.
think this is Israel's problem. Israel should deal with its sovereignty of its country.
I would go fight for Israel because I am not going to let a group of people come in and kill people in a concert just for the fun of killing them, torture them.
Well,
No.
shouldn't Israel fight for Israel?
Israel is fighting for Israel. They came into Israel.
Right.
Israel don't go into them unless they're provoked.
Why don't they
Do
go
you
into
know
them and gain their sovereignty of their country back?
See, now that you just went opposite.
Well, no.
How can you take a country from other people? All you want is
Palestine's not a country. It's a providence in Israel.
It don't belong to Israel. Israel don't want it.
Okay, well let's.
Saudi Arabia don't want it. Iran don't want it. Nobody wants
sovereignty of it.
Nobody wants
Okay,
it.
that's like New Hampshire full of drug dealers, and then being like, well, it's not our problem. It's not the United States problem. We need other people's funding to solve New Hampshire's problem of terrorism. That'd be so ignorant. It's like you don't want to take responsibility
Here's
for
something
the problem.
Here's something we're going to look at then.
Okay.
Does Israel buy their own weapons, or do we supply them? I am betting that Israel probably pays for most of their weapons. Therefore, do we have a right to sell them weapons to defend themselves?
I do
Yes.
believe that we've given them aid and supply and weaponry.
Do you know what the Iron Dome is?
The Iron Dome?
Yeah.
Where?
In Israel.
Nope.
The Iron Dome is to prevent rockets from coming into Israel. That is its sole purpose. It is not to shoot at Palestine like people think. When Palestine or Hezbollah or whatever fires weapons into Israel, this is a weapons defensive system. It shoots at the rockets, and it has a 90% success rate.
Yes, and you're talking about an anti-missile defense system.
Yes, and in Israel they call it the Iron Dome.
Okay. No, I didn't know it was called the Iron Dome.
Yeah.
I know I've seen it in action, the anti-missile defense system.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
an impressive system.
Yes, it is. And that just goes to show you that Israel actually spends more money on defense than it does on offense. Because Israel is not interested in attacking Palestine. They're not interested in attacking Iran. They're not interested in Iraq.
Well,
they're not interested in the country to the north. All they want is to be left alone, and people keep attacking them. Now, do they have a right to defend themselves?
Yeah, but they should have defended themselves immediately. Like,
What's
when
the best
the
defense?
attack on these concerts were happening, a good offense.
A good offense, which means you need to go into where they are and destroy them. You have no choice. You know who loses wars?
Right. You destroy them by going in and destroying the people responsible. You don't go in and bomb the schools and the hospitals just because they're hiding under it.
Okay. You have a killer. He's surrounded by a bunch of people that are innocent people.
Okay, yeah, you don't kill the innocent people.
You try not to, but you better take a shot at him. And you know how to lose a war? Play by your own rules. That's how you lose a war. When they play by no rules and you have rules, you will lose a war. I don't know what else to tell you about that. You have to play by their rules. If they do not care about their citizens, if they don't care about their citizens,
I think
there's nothing you can do because Hamas can do everything to protect their citizens and put all their warriors on the front line and then have Israel fight on the front line and then none of the civilians will be killed. You think Hamas is going to be manly enough to do that?
No, I think
No.
Israel
They're gonna
should
hide
be
behind
smart
children.
and strong enough to take
Again, you just played by the. That's what they want.
Okay.
You just played the fool's game.
Maybe.
Because now you're going to play by the rules of morality. They're not playing by those rules. They killed children. They took them as hostages.
Children, so.
They raped them. They raped them on live TV and then cut her head off.
Okay.
If you
That's
don't-
when Israel should have stopped them. Not
How do
later.
you stop them?
By having guards, by having a military.
They do. Okay.
They do. Where were they that day? Look, you got all the way over in planes. You got all the way over on the country. What? You don't have any radar. You don't have any. Where was your defense system then?
They walked over, Thomas.
No, I saw them dropping down,
No.
parachuting down. That's
Oh,
what I saw. I
that's-
saw them parachuting
From
down
what?
into that concert.
See, there's something wrong with that, then, isn't there? You
There
better
might
go
be.
back. You better go back and look at that because, as far as I know,
And
you
then
have
how
to
were they-
jump. As far as I know, you have to jump out of a plane. I don't think Palestine has any planes. So now you're telling me
They got
that
planes.
no, they don't.
They got small planes that you. Yes, they do. They have stunt planes. Everybody has stunt planes. That's ridiculous. I've seen people.
And you
I've
don't
seen
think the Iron
farmers
Dome
up
would
here.
shoot? And you don't think the Iron Dome would shoot those things down?
They should have. Where? That's what I'm asking. Where was
Okay.
the Iron Dome then?
Okay, well that's something.
Okay, and also-
that's something you need to look up because I don't believe it.
You said that they crossed walking. Okay, well,
They
where?
cut lines. They cut lines in the fence. You cannot.
Nobody's guarding the fence. Nobody knows where. Nobody's at the fence.
How
Nobody has
hard do you think it would be to guard 24/7 the fence along Texas and Mexico?
Yeah, but it's.
You don't have
It's
the
a-
manpower,
It's 100 times longer than that fence guarding.
and we have 100 times more people.
Okay.
We have more people to guard it, and we still can't guard it all.
No, we don't have. Our government doesn't want to fund guarding it.
Ain't
and
that
I
a
don't
shame
know how
what
to
he
explain
thinks?
that.
Ain't that a shame that you
The
are
government-
that you are responsible to guard yourselves,
Yes.
not the person who's attacking you. It's not the person who's attacking you fault.
No, if the
They're
person
innocent.
attacks you,
The person
you
that's
kill him.
trying to
But
kill
you
you-
kill him right then and there. You don't wait 3 days and be like, well, and jack off.
Oh, can you see now? That's contradictory to another thing he says. If they were to attack him the same day, you know how many civilians would have died? You know how many hospitals and schools Israel would have had to blow up to knock them all out? So now,
Then
now,
how
now
are
you're
they
saying
on
save
TV?
the,
Now,
now
then
you're-
how I'm contradicting myself, of course, yeah. But how are they on TV then? If they're in the hospitals and schools, how are they out raiding all these places then? Like, if there's no guards at the school, you're telling me if 50 people went to Parkview right now, today, they'd all be executed today. That's the sovereignty of the country. They would be executed by gunpoint.
is yeah. So
That's
that-
called sovereignty. Why
Okay,
isn't
that's
Israel
what-
sovereign?
then again, you're telling Israel on the day that happened, they should have went in and murdered everybody in the hospitals, killed everybody in the schools, and just eliminated everybody. And I agree more with that argument than just wipe them all out and let God decide. Because they attacked you, well, they all deserve to die. That would be an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, my man. If one Palestinian is guilty, they're all guilty. That's an eye for an eye.
That is
That's
not
the
an
Old
eye for an eye.
Testament.
No. How is that an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth? If I take your eye and you take my whole face, that's not an eye for an eye, is it?
Yes.
No, it's not. And you know it's not.
How many? Well, you know that they're still holding Israel hostages, right? They still
Yeah.
can't get them back. Now, if they really wanted to end the war, wouldn't you simply give the hostages back unharmed?
Nope.
Wouldn't you? No.
Because
so
I
you
would
don't-
find out
so you
exactly
don't
where
want
they
any-
are and go in with the team of 100
that's
people.
easy.
It's not. Then why, if it's so easy, why aren't they doing it?
I was being sarcastic. Meaning that's impossible.
People do it all the time. The military does it all the time, and you know they do.
Okay,
I know
a little,
you've been
a
in
little
one of those
backup.
raids. I know that you know for a fact that they do this, and I know for a fact that you've been a part of it. So I don't know why you're saying it's impossible. That's just out of, you know it's possible. You know with you and 100 men, you could go in there and get those hostages back. Are
I
you
don't know
saying
where
that
they are.
You couldn't.
I don't know where they are.
Then if they don't know where they are, they're fools. They don't know what they're doing.
Wow.
Their technology is so
Wow.
far below the par then.
Yeah, Palestine's technology is so far below.
Then
the
how are
par.
they able to hide the hostages if their technology is so far
Wow.
behind? Well, I'm asking basic questions.
I can hide in America to where you would never find me.
I mean, I don't
Yes,
think
I
so.
could.
Even if you made a lead box, I would know where the lead
No.
box is.
You can never find me.
Mm-hmm.
I could
I don't know
run
about
and
that.
hide so good in America, man. You would not even. And not only that, as I'm
Right.
moving along, I could murder a bunch of people, and you would still never find me.
People try to do that all the time. It's
I
called
know.
serial killers. They get caught all the time too.
After a bunch of deaths,
Not that many anymore. You always leave
well,
out.
they're getting
The
well,
more technology is
okay.
advancing, the better the nervous system gets.
only because of your phone. Because everybody is tied to their phone, so I can ping and find your phone at any time I want, or your car, or everyone uses credit cards, but in Palestine, the better ones. Oh, to give a little information, I served in the 82nd Airborne Division, so I was in the Sinai Desert. As a result, I got to see Israel, Palestine, Egypt, Kuwait. I was part of the Sinai peacekeeping force there, and I saw the difference between the two and the way that the Palestinians operate. They're vicious. I mean, I just don't know what else to tell you. When you walk into some place, you don't know where those tunnels go. You don't know where they lead to. You don't know if they have actual anything. I mean, they might have explosives down there. They may have traps. When you open the door to free a hostage, when you open it, it may blow you up. You don't know. 100 people in one hospital would not be enough. You would need about maybe 1,000, maybe 5,000, because of all the tunnels, how deep the tunnels are. I mean, you would. One of these days, I hope Israel goes in and actually films how difficult it is to get through these tunnel systems that Palestine has built under hospitals, schools, to protect themselves. They don't fight fair. And you're asking Israel to fight fair. That's the simple solution to lose a war.
No, I'm not asking Israel to fight fair. I'm asking Israel to take care of Israel.
Okay. and by omission, we know the best defense is a great offense.
Right.
You make them stop attacking you. Well, you got to eliminate them then.
But then you
Okay,
shouldn't
then
be
how do
taking
you do
any
it?
foreign aid. You shouldn't. You do it with absolute fucking power and just hit it. But if you're gonna do it, then you do it and gain your sovereignty back. That's part of being a country. But you don't take foreign aid and you don't take other people's help to gain your sovereignty. Otherwise, you're not sovereign. That's how sovereignty works. And all I'm saying is that they're in a civil war. I'd never agree with what the Palestinians have done or Palestine.
They're not in a
because,
civil war. They're in a religious war.
well,
Two different animals.
no, they're not. It's
A civil war would be more as if Israel wanted to take Palestine. That would be a civil war.
Israel should be taking Palestine to
They
gain
don't.
sovereignty.
Again,
of
they
the
don't
country.
want it.
Well, that's
They
a
don't.
good excuse.
They don't.
No,
want
that's a good
it.
excuse. Now, shit in one hand, excuses in the other, and what has more weight to it?
They don't want it.
Okay, well, again,
I don't.
that's a good
Why?
excuse.
What? You're going to make them
I
take
don't
something
want-
they
yes.
don't want?
Yeah. You take what's in your land, or you work out something and they become their own sovereign country if they don't want it. Okay, then you work
Israel-
an agreement and you stop the killing.
Israel
What's so
has
hard about
tried-
stopping killing?
Israel has tried again and again to make peace accords with Palestine. Every time they do, Palestine breaks this peace accord. Every single time.
Okay.
You know why they didn't expect the attack? is because they were under a peace agreement. That's why they didn't expect that attack to happen. They thought we had a peace agreement that we wasn't going to attack each other for this time. And then all of a sudden, because Israel's idiots and they're not playing by Palestine's rules, they're playing by the rules of justice and morality. Guess who's going to lose?
That's not justice. I mean, it's coward. The way I see it, it's cowardice.
Who is?
Both.
No.
Both. Israel's too much of a coward to take over Palestine and be like, nope, this is ours.
Wow.
Get out or live by our rules or get the
Okay,
These are your options. So they're too cowardice to actually do that, and they're too cowardice to actually stomp down
What
Hamas
you're
and
saying-
take reality at what face
So
value.
what you're saying, that Israel should just completely go into Palestine, wipe out Hamas, and take it over.
Yes, that's what
Wow.
happens if New Hampshire were to try to come out and it was all Muslim people and they tried to attack New Jersey. What would we do to New Hampshire? Would we be like, this is okay, New Hampshire? You can attack kill thousands. Who
But
cares?
it's different.
No, it's not. It's the same. You're trying to make it different so that you can claim this morality and stuff. This is what I think Israel should do,
Okay.
and that's
You know how many people will
everybody's
die if
entitled
Israel
to
does that?
their.
You know how many people will die if Israel does that?
You know how much I'll have to get to stop listening to it if they do it though? I'll never have to hear about it.
Well, no. Then we'll just hear about Iran attacking Israel, or Hezbollah, or some
We hear
other
about it
crazy
still.
shit.
We hear about it still.
Wars,
Anyways,
and rumors of wars will happen through time.
I think that they don't want to gain sovereignty of their country, and they should be seeking to gain sovereignty of their country instead of trying to be
Okay.
like,
Well,
we
they
don't
don't
want it
consider-
or whatever.
They don't consider Palestine part of Israel.
Israel is such a small country; it should be fighting for every fucking square mile it can get.
Colonialism at its finest there, buddy.
Okay, well,
Colonialism at its finest, but yet you got all these schools preaching against colonialism. Yeah,
Well-
that's funny, man.
they preach against it, but those schools wouldn't exist without it, so
Well,
they're fools.
America wouldn't exist without it. I'm sorry. Jeez.
So,
Well, that's interesting, Thomas, because you're actually agreeing with Israel to the fact that just go in, wipe out Hamas, and just take over Palestine.
yes. And
A
gain
lot of
sovereignty
people
of our
from
country.
Palestine want to do that. I do not. It's not that they're. They got a political system too. It's not that the cowards, because I've been there.
No,
The Israel people are one of the most strongest.
I know it's more
resilient
about
people.
politics and stuff.
They are the most resilient people I know. Do you know that every woman has to serve at least 2 years in the military unless they're married, and then their husband has to do those 2 years? Because I was thinking after the military I was going to go back to Israel and marry one just so I could serve in the Israeli army. Because I was so impressed with the Israeli army. They're disciplined,
I'm not saying that.
even the women, you got to watch sometimes when you're walking down certain streets and you see a woman carrying a M16 or usually an AK-47 on their back.
I'm not saying.
I found that so sexy.
I'm not saying that people are cowardice. I'm not
No.
saying that at all. I'm
Okay,
saying that the government and the policies are a big cowardice, and
Okay.
that doesn't have to do
Okay, now I
anything with the
agree with that.
military or the people at all. I think they're
Okay.
strong people.
Well, the problem with politicians is they got to be diplomatic.
Yep.
That's the problem with them. They have to be diplomatic. And because you don't, what Israel cannot do at this point is piss off Saudi Arabia, which, by the way, Israel offered Saudi Arabia to take Palestine. Saudi Arabia said, no, we want nothing to do with Palestine. Now, we can't let Iran take Palestine because Iran has always been at war with Israel, and that ain't going to help nothing. Now, we'll just continue that conflict.
No, I think they should gain sovereignty of their.
Oh.
They should take Palestine.
And here's something else that Israel cannot do. They cannot piss off Egypt. They cannot do it. It will just.
No.
I mean, because if Saudi Arabia.
I thought Egypt was on Israel's side. I thought I looked at.
No, they're on no one's. They're
neutral.
They're neutral, and then they agreed that the Sinai Desert would be a neutral zone between the people that on the Egypt side that wants to kill. You know what I mean? Because at one time there was a fight. I believe it was called the 90-Day War.
Yeah.
The 90-Day War. I mean, I've been to the site. I've been there, and tanks scattered all over the place, man. Still there. Like somebody didn't even go in and bother to recycle the metal. All the weapons were gone, and bombs and shit like that.
Well, I just think the killing should stop. That's the only way to make it stop. It's only going to continue, and it's only going to get worse.
You know who else recently said that?
Yeah.
Who?
Donald J. Trump.
See, I don't even necessarily like Donald J. Trump, but some of the stuff he says is intelligent. I gotta say, I just want the killing to stop. Why can't we do this? Why can't we just stop the killing? I mean, when someone kills someone in the United States, they have a trial, they go to jail, they're in prison for a while. Why can't we do that there? Why? You know? And you know, a lot of countries, they really don't have police. The military is a police.
Yes.
Okay. The military is a police. I believe the Philippines have the same thing. I know some countries where there's no real police. The military is the police. They act as the same people. Unlike us. We have so many police, you can't even keep track of all the names. I mean, you consider the FBI police, CIA police,
right.
But then you got the local police, you got the sheriff's police.
Well, it's all horrific. Seeing the attack on the concert where 1,200 people died, that was horrific. Seeing the bombs on the hospitals and the schools and the apartment buildings, that's horrific. Nobody wants to see that. And the only solution I see is through.
Okay.
But if you guys have other solutions, please comment.
I do not want them to hide it, though. I want them to make it public. Because otherwise, they're just teaching me what they want me to know. I don't want that.
Yeah.
How can you think for yourself if you don't get all your information? Where's all the information? I mean, just like I want to know, I didn't see where they were actually jumping into that. I would like to see that because something is amiss with that. Because the Iron Dome, if they're jumping out of a plane, no matter what, because they're shooting down little missiles. If the Iron Dome can't see a goddamn plane and shoot it down, then we got a serious problem.
Well, I don't think they jumped from big planes. They jumped from like the small, but even still.
But they're shooting down mortars. They're shooting down little bombs. They're shooting down little bombs that are moving a lot faster than a biplane. And I know they don't have like a C-130 or an F-14 to jump out of. They might be jumping out of even maybe a small helicopter, but a small helicopter is bigger than the bombs they're shooting down out of the sky. So, and the Iron Dome is running 24/7. They don't get a day off. Such as sometimes if it's a holiday, the soldiers half of them may get the day off, so they're half-staffed. Especially if you're under a peace agreement. You know, you're not expecting it, but that's that's good for Hamas to attack when they're not expecting it. But Israel would never do that. So again, I mean, I would give Israel every right to protect itself with the knowledge that a good defense is a great offense. Don't wait for them to come and attack you. Go attack them first, take them out, see if you can find them.
And generally in a country, if somebody's against the sovereignty of that country, that group or people, they're put to rest. So, and that's part of a sovereign country.
Hey, did you hear? Did you hear where a bunch of Hamas and Muslim jihadists against Israel, they were using these old style pagers,
And they all blew up. Yep, I did see that.
Well, that was one of the best attacks that never caused a civilian casualty. The only people who had those pagers were military extremists against Israel. And do you know, not one time ever has there been an executionary attack like that to where almost all the people that got injured or killed was an actual military target.
Yeah. Well, I hope Israel and Hamas come to peace. That's today's show. This is a TNT morning show coming at you every day except Sunday at 10 a.m. Please like, share, comment, subscribe.